This is the Viltrox f1.8 lens for Sony. And can somebody please tell me how this lens is so cheap? I got it for £440 from the Viltrox UK website recently. And if you compare that against other lenses like the Sony 14mm f1.8 lens, that's £1,400. So that's like triple the price of this lens. You could go for a zoom lens like the Zeiss 16-35 or the Sigma 14-24mm lens, but they're still going to cost you about £1,000. And although you're getting great value, you're also getting great quality. And I've bought this lens pretty much solely for the use of shooting real estate video with. Compared with my ZV-E1, I've been getting some fantastic results. So before we start talking about too much detail, let's take a look at some examples I've been shooting with it. So as you can see, I've been getting some great results with this lens and camera combination. I've got the ZV-E1 here, and when you're shooting an S-Log3, it means you're getting 15 stops of dynamic range. That's fantastic. But one of the reasons I love this lens and the reason I wanted to give it a go is, well, it's got that f1.8, which means you won't have to push your ISO up so high. I mean, this camera does have the dual native ISO, so you can go pretty high and get good detail. But if you don't have that option with a high ISO where you can get good detail, having a low aperture like the 1.8, then that means you can open that aperture and you won't have to push the ISO up as high. The other reason I've chosen this lens obviously is it's a 16mm focal length, so that's great for shooting real estate. I mean, ideally I might want something like a 14mm because it is good to get as much as possible when shooting real estate. But to be honest, it's been absolutely fine. It's only maybe in the smaller rooms that you might just have to do a little bit more panning with this lens. But 16mm is absolutely fine for shooting real estate with. When it comes to build factor of this lens, it really doesn't feel that cheap, even though you're paying just £440 in my case, as it's all metal build quality, and you're getting a couple of extra function buttons, which is great. Always good to have an extra couple of custom buttons. And then you actually get this little LCD display here. To be honest, I don't really use it that much. It could be a bit of a gimmick, but it does tell you what's in focus when you're changing your aperture. So that could be pretty handy and something to keep in mind. And it is also weather sealed, so that's pretty handy. Ideally, you don't want to be shooting in the rain, but just in case you get caught, that is good to know. And another thing about this lens is it does have a lens hood which you can detach and put over the top, and also put on filters, because some of the wider lenses like the Sigma 14-24mm I used to have, you've got that built-in lens hood and the actual lens is actually quite bulbous, so you can't put any filters on it. So it is great if you do want to start using ND filters. When it comes to weight of this lens, it's about 550 grams, I think. And when paired with the ZV-E1, it comes in about 1 kilogram, the whole thing. So that's absolutely fine for putting on my RS3 mini gimbal here. And you've still got a fairly small and lightweight-ish setup for shooting real estate with. One thing I forgot to mention was the autofocus of this lens. Some third-party lenses can have an issue with autofocus, with a bit of focus breathing going on, but as you can see here, there's absolutely no problem with the autofocus of this lens. I have had lenses before like the Samyang 14mm, and frankly that was terrible, especially at like f2, f4, it just couldn't catch focus whatsoever. And I do like to use autofocus quite a lot when I shoot real estate. I know some people might disagree with that, but for speed, it works for me. So if you're going to be using the autofocus of this lens, then you're going to be absolutely fine. As well as shooting real estate, this lens could be used for landscape photography or astrophotography because it's got that 16mm focal length and also the 1.8 f-stop. But in general, this lens, for the price, is absolutely fantastic. I really don't see how you can go wrong with this lens. I've been getting great results. And like I say, you could pay triple the price for the Sony lens. I've not tried that lens, so I can't really compare it, but I'm more than happy with this lens, so I'm going to stick with it. I don't even need to try that Sony lens, I don't feel. But if you want to get some other cheaper gear, maybe for real estate photography, then you can watch this video here where I talk you through all the gear you can get on a budget. Thanks for watching.